Happy Sunday. It's a beautiful day out here today in North Carolina. Right now it is. It's supposed to be in the high 80s today, which means it's going to feel like it's 215 degrees with humidity. Man, I actually just logged off of virtual church, if you will. I went to church today online, and it's pretty interesting. Sometimes I do that just because I want to. No particular reason. But I've had a steady diet over the past few months of listening to audios by mainly three gentlemen. One is Neville Goddard. If you've never heard of Neville Goddard, Google him. Another one is Kevin Trudeau, and another gentleman is Bob Proctor. Also been reading a few books by James Allen. James Allen is an author that was popular, if you will, in the 1800s. He has a book, one that I've recently read here the last week was As a Man Thinketh. Take a look it up. But one thing that I wanted to focus on is what I've been listening to over and over by Kevin Trudeau. He has if you don't know who Kevin Trudeau is, Google him also. He's a billionaire businessman. He's most notable for a book he wrote a few years ago called Natural Cures That They Don't Want You to Know About. He actually did jail time behind that book, but he's a very, very interesting character. One of the audios that I'm listening to, he's focusing on all of the people I'm talking about in one form or another talk about this same principle. And there's 4 levels of learning, 4 levels of proficiency, or 4 levels of understanding. And I'm not going to go into all of them. I'll kind of let y'all know what they are, but I want to just point out one that's been major right now for me. Those 4 levels are: first is unconsciously incompetent, second is consciously incompetent, third is consciously competent, and fourth is unconsciously competent. Now, these are varying degrees. I like to call it the 4 levels of proficiency or 4 levels of understanding, because in life we're in one shape or another, to varying degrees, we're always in the place of unconsciously incompetent. Basically, we don't know what we don't know. Example he gives is talking about tying your shoes. Basically, when you learn how to tie your shoes, in the beginning, you had no idea that you needed to tie your shoes. You didn't even know what tying your shoes meant. You never knew. You didn't even know what the concept was. In fact, you really just found it as an annoyance because your parents wanted to stop you to do this thing with your shoes. And then once you came to a better understanding, you knew you needed to tie your shoes, but you didn't know how. That's conscious competence. The first one is unconscious competence. That's conscious incompetence. So it's unconscious incompetence, and then it's conscious incompetence. You knew that you needed to tie your shoes, but you didn't know how. You had no concept of it. But when you saw your shoes needed to be tied, you took it to an adult or somebody else around that could tie your shoe. The third level is conscious competence. Conscious competence. So basically, you know how to tie your shoe, but you have to think about it. So recite that little poem. You think about the loops you have and all that stuff in tying your shoe. So you know how to tie your shoe, but you have to give it thought. You have to concentrate on it. And the fourth level is unconscious competence. It's almost nature. It's almost natural. It's almost instinct. Think about the way you tie, as an adult, you tie your shoes now. You don't have to think about it. In fact, you might not even remember tying your shoes today or yesterday. You just remember, putting your shoes on and that you had to tie them when you tied your shoe, but you don't remember that moment. You might have been thinking about something else. You may have been having a conversation with somebody else, but your hands pretty much went on autopilot to tie your shoe, right? In fact, you don't even remember what your fingers were doing. You don't remember the details of it. But the thing is that if we want to understand life, if we want to know more about life, we understand that we're always at the level of unconscious incompetence. We don't know what we don't know. Even if we have a better understanding of the truth than we had yesterday, think about this. Truth is not one-sided. Truth is not one-dimensional. It's multidimensional. So if I'm looking at this side of the truth, and I see it and I understand it in its fullness from this perspective, or from this perspective and my level of perception, those are the two factors that are major. One, perspective being your vantage point, and two, being your perception, which is our ability to perceive. There's some things we can't perceive because of maybe our experience or just our general bent or lack of understanding. But that's the way life is. Truth is multifaceted. Even though I might be proficient from this vantage point of the truth, I may not be from another. So I always stay in a place of, I don't know what I don't know. And then I can learn without judgment. I can learn without being emotionally upset because I don't understand something or because I'm having to learn something new. Maybe you ought to make that application in your life. If you think you know everything there is to know about everything that you experience, you have no more room to grow. And guess what happens when you stop growing? You start dying. Happy Sunday, y'all.